If you guys are just jumping on the meeting, pay attention to the breakout rooms. There's a room for score callers and there's a room for judges. So if you could join the appropriate room for the right meeting, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. I don't see the link. Hello?
Again, if you're just logging on, please join the appropriate breakout room. If you're involved with score calling, join that room. If you're going to be a judge and actually give scores out during the tournament, join the judges. Again, guys, if you're logging in, if you could please choose the appropriate breakout room for yourself and jump in that room, judges or score callers. Thank you. We'll start in just a minute.
Can you help me get to the right room? I'm doing score calling.
Okay, so you're going to want to go to the breakout rooms and choose the one that says score caller. Okay.
Can't figure out where the breakout room is.
Yeah, where's the breakout room at?
How do you access it?
I'll go ahead and put you in there. Just a second.
Okay, thank you.
It should be giving you an option to join. Those of you that are just logging on, if you can choose the appropriate breakout room for yourself, judges, go to the judges room, score callers, go to the score caller room. Thank you. If you're just jumping on, please join the appropriate breakout room. If you're a score caller, go to the score caller room. If you're a judge, go to the judges room. Thank you. If you guys are just jumping in, make sure you join the appropriate breakout room. Judges, judges room. Score caller room. Thank you.
As well. Excellent. And Andrea Knieper, ring 6, 11:30 to close. Lindsay Romanelli, ring 5, 11:30 and closing. Emily Davis, ring 1 and closing the tournament. Emma Fall, ring number 2 to close of the day. Mr. Matt Baca, ring number 3, 11:30 to close. Mr. Devin Burns, you'll be starting the day because you're competing later on. So 8:30 till 1:30, then you're competing. So Devin Burns judging 8:30 to 1:30, then competing. Johnny Khalil, same thing, 8:30 to 1:30 in ring number 3. Devin Burns in ring number 1, if I didn't mention that. Dr. Khalil, ring number 1, 11:30 to close. John Shope, 8:30 to 1:30 in ring number 2. Sean Wu, 8:30 to 12. Ring number 4. Justin Cicluna, ring number 5, 8:30 till 12. Alex Bailey, ring number 6, 8:30 to 12. Michael Talmanello, ring number 2, 8:30 to 12. And then after he's done competing, can judge as well, 1 o'clock to 3. And then Mr. Noah Shaughnessy, judging 8:30 till 1:30, ring number 4. Ryan McNamara, I know he's out there, judging in ring number 1, excuse me, ring number 3, Ryan, ring number 3, 11:30 to close, although be available before that if possible. Jim McCormick, ring number 1, 11:30 to close. Trish Rowe, same thing, 11:30 to close, but ring number 5. I see, looks like next to your name, Trish, if you're out there, it has a chart written there, so I think you might be helping out with the chart maybe. And then Ken Patterson, 11:30 to close, ring number 6. Claire Patterson, ring number 4, 11:30 to close. Patty Baravecchia, 8:30 to noon, and then she'll be competing. Malik Albatar, 8:30 to noon. Then after he's competing, can judge as well. Ring number 6, Malik, number 6. Flipping the page. I already get Malik. I did. And Trevor Suvaroff. This is fun. 11:30 to close. Trevor, ring number 2. And then Kevin Klingenberg, ring number 5, 11:30 to close. Burke Manning, 8:30 to 12, 8:30 to noon for Burke. And same, 8:30 to noon for Nida, excuse me if I hurt your name, Kosevic, ring number 5, Nida. And Adam Williams, ring number 3, 8:30 to noon, that is correct. And Haresh, ring number 6, 8:30 to noon. Will Donovan, ring number 4, 8:30 to noon. John Lebeski, ring number 2, looks like 11:30 to close. Matthew Zazula, ring number 5, 8:30 to noon. Hassan Katamanavati, ring number 6, looks like 11:30 to close. Nelson Wu, ring number 6, 8:30 to noon. Dean Shaughnessy, ring number 1, 8:30 to noon. Madison Morgan, ring number 2, 8:30 to noon. Meadow Littlejohn, ring number 3, 8:30 to noon. Cody Shane, you can start judging at 8:30 to 10:30. Then looks like you'll be competing, and then you can judge after that as well. Ethan Rosick, same thing, 8:30 to 10:30. Then you'll be competing and then judging after that in ring number 5 for Ethan. Shannon Strope, ring number 6, 8:30 to 10:30. And I think you'll be out for a little bit to judge and then back in if you're available. Lewis Warner, the 4th, ring number 4, how appropriate, 8:30 to 10:30, then a little gap, and then back in if possible at 11:30. Then Maddie Finch, ring number 5, 8:30 to 10:30. Then we'll have you back at the end of the day, potentially for, looks like 1 to 3 if possible. And then Jack Petrowski. Jack, you're in ring number 5, 10 to 12, and then 1 to 3 if possible. And looks like Braden Klinger, ring number 6, 10 to 12, 1 to 3 as well. Marco LaFife, ring number 4, 10 to 12, 1 to 3. And then lastly, Shiv Kadakia, ring number 5 and 10 to 1:30. So that is all of my corner judges that I called. Did anybody maybe join in late and not understand that or need to hear it again?
Sensei Haresh Maradia, did you say ring 6, 8:30 to 12?
Let's find out. Haresh number 6 and 8:30 to 12. I did say that. Thank you, Haresh. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, moving on. Very good.
Sensei, Senpai.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Andrea. I couldn't figure out on my phone how to work it. What time is it? It says to close for me. What time is that usually? Because I have to leave, I think, at 5 for a soccer game.
That's fine. If you have
Okay.
to leave, just let your center know.
Okay.
Okay. It's kind of hard to
Alright.
gauge that, but the
Right.
Blackville division start at 2:30 and run till they're done. You know how that goes.
Yeah,
So
right.
roughly
Okay.
5, 6 o'clock is, so
Okay.
if you got to go, but do what you can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Anytime. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay. Let's get into the proper judging practice. And we'll start with how a division would run in the ring. So I'm going to back up my camera a little bit. You guys get to watch me. So we all start. The judges would line up at the front of the ring. Any first-time judges out there? First-timers, yell at me.
Yeah, Will Donovan, I am.
Okay, got a few out there. Cool. Just curious. I see a lot of familiar faces, but I'm always happy to help those beginner judges. I'm sure you've seen the process. So it would be, if I were the center judge, I'd have 2 judges on each side of me, and we would line up the division, and we would say Kiltskate, and then Shomani. We all turn over our right shoulder, and right, we bow to the showman. And Otakaini, we all turn together, and right. Okay, so that's how we bow. We want to turn to the right, make it nice and clean together. Then what happens is, before the judge the center judge might do this before they have you line up, but they would assign a median score for kata or weapon division. So in your basic groups, that's going to be, 5 to 6, maybe to 7. In your intermediate levels, 6 up to 7, maybe into the 7.5s, and then your advanced levels, 7s up to 8s, maybe into the high 8s. Okay, everybody. So a median score is just a good baseline to kind of get started. So for example, if it was a basic group, I'd tell my judges, all right, judges, we're going to start around a 6. So that means that first competitor comes up, I'm probably going to give them close to a 6, maybe a 6.3, maybe a 5.8, but I want to stay kind of in that 6 area. That way we can all start on the same, roughly the same starting point. But if someone comes up and does a pretty good job, go up a little bit. If, you don't think they're that great, then go down a little bit. And that way we're all kind of around the same area. Okay. And then once we do that first bow in, the judges would walk around the outside of their chairs. Okay. And then once everyone goes around the chairs and we all stand, and you look at the center judge, and the center judge will kind of give you the signal to have a seat. I almost missed the chair, but you would sit down, and then the division would start. Now the first competitor comes up, and as I said, we're judging to that beginner level at this example today, but I always like to have my book on whatever that base score it was. I think I said a 6 maybe. So I just kind of started there, and as I'm watching, I'm looking for the different skills I'm looking for, right? And if you judge before, you understand what you're looking for. But basically, as a student of karate, what you expect of yourself, you're looking exactly for those same things in the performer out on the floor. So you're looking for good balance, good rhythm, good focus, right? Also good structure, body dynamics. Those are really big key areas. The eye line, the focus of their eyes. If there's any hesitations or stops and starts, loss of balance, those things can all be, deductions one way, or if they're really good at it, they don't fall over at all. They're very smooth and graceful out there, then that would raise the score, right? So use all of those things that you're looking for in yourself as a performer to make a judgment on what you're seeing out there. So first competitor comes up, they're done, they look pretty good. Maybe I go up a little bit, I'm going to give a 6.1, all right? Just as an example today. Then the judge has them have a seat. We watch the second competitor. Let's say the second competitor is, I feel, better. Now, if I go 6.2, right, that's a better score, right? But what I did is I don't leave room for the third competitor in case I need to put them right in between the middle. So it's always good to, if you're going to go up in the beginning, go up a little extra, right? Leave some space. So maybe I go 6.4 on that second competitor if they're better, right? If they're not better, then I might go backwards, right? I might change to a 5.7 or something like that, right? Now I have 5.8, 5.9 in between those areas, right? Now, the bigger the division, let's say I have 10 or 12 people to judge, then I want to spread those scores even more in the beginning, right? Smaller divisions, only 3, 4, 5 people, should be pretty easy to have 4 or 5 scores. But really, the top 3 scores, top 4 scores that you're giving out today in the groups are really what matters, right? Because those are the ones you're going to use to place the people in the division. Okay, so that's always a good place to start. Number one, you want to know the median score, kind of where your baseline is. Number 2, leave space so you have room for the second, third, fourth, 10th, 12th competitor in the group. Most groups aren't going to be super huge. We try to keep them small, but I think on the bigger area, you're going to get maybe 10 to 15 competitors in the larger groups. Okay, so try to use your judgment. And again, it's judgment, right? So don't be upset if your scores are different than the other judges. That's why it's called judging, right? Everyone has their perspective and viewpoint. So, and when it comes to the weaponry, of course, you want to judge those same areas and expertise as the kata, empty-handed, but you're looking at the control of the weapon, also judging the complexity of what they're doing with that weapon. So, a bow tends to favor the other weapons, but the other weapons are also harder to handle because there's 2 of them, or creates a different difficulty, right? So, always gauge those things in your mind as you're out there watching as a judge. Okay, so that's a good baseline to start on the kata and weapon judgment. Now, some little dragons, if you're not sure what that is, a little dragon is a younger karate student, some ages 4 to 6 area. They might come up and only do part of a kata, like a taikyoku shodan, and only stop after the first kiai, and then they bow. So if you see partial katas out there, that might be why. So don't judge them down for that. Judge them what they do. Now, if they looks like they're supposed to do the whole thing and they kind of get hesitation and they stop and they restart and they keep going back and forth, well, then you would, lower those scores appropriately based on the penalty of hesitation. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. And, also as people are lining up for competition, the biggest thing in the day is safety. And you're looking at the uniform. Is it worn properly? Are the pants too long? Are they going to trip? Inspect the weapons a little bit, look things over, make sure everything's safe. As someone's performing, make sure everyone's clear of the ring. If you see anybody, try to keep them away from the ring so they don't get hit, things like that. So as the day goes on, we're kind of policing the area, making sure things are safe and sound out there. Okay, so once the division is over and we have 3 winners, then you would reverse your order to come up and bow the group out. So the corner judges, everybody would stand. They would come around their chairs all the way up to the front next to me as an example. And then the center judge would announce the winners and hand out the medals. And we'll all be a part of that process as you've seen. So you want to make sure you're on the spot with the correct medal. And we'll cover ties in a second, but that's kind of the basics there. You want to be good energy in the ring as a corner judge, be ready to help with anything that you see the ring having a need with. Now, for a tie, by the way, we don't want ties. That's why we want to spread out our scores, but sometimes there are legitimate ties. The competitors are very, very skillful and maybe there's a tie. So if in the event of the tie, the center judge will call the corners over and he'll tell you, okay, we're all going to give the first person a 6. No matter what they do, the first person that's tied gets the 6. Then the second competitor comes up and they are either, well, we got to break the tie. So they're either better or worse. So if they're better, we go up 1 point, 6.1. If they're worse, I think you get the idea, we would go down to a 5.9. And that breaks the tie every single time. So you just want to know what score to hold up first. In this case, it was the 6. Okay, hope that makes sense. Any questions, concerns about judging kata? Let's start with that, or weaponry.
No, Senpai.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hope everyone's okay. Anybody else out there? Okay. All right. Excellent. I did a perfect job then, we'll call it. Now, when it comes to sparring and kumite, we want to be performing good judging quality out there. We call judging a kata, right? So it's important that we show the kata of judging. So I'll go over the corner calls. That's an example. So you would be sitting on the corner of the ring. I'm on the front of the ring for today, but I have competitor is on my right. Now, if it's the other way, I have to switch the flags. And depending on what side of the ring you're on, you'll have to pay attention to that. Now, if there's a point call, so a wazari, a half point, I blow the whistle sharp and I hold out the flag. Sorry if that destroyed your ears, but I want to make sure it's a nice straight out to the shoulder call. I don't want any lazy calls, right? This is a bad kata. I want nice and straight out, good sitting posture, feet outside the feet of the chair. Okay, good posture in the ring. As the day goes on, we get tired, we start getting lazy. So I want to make sure we're sitting up straight. So again, the point call. As soon as I see something, I blow the whistle and throw the appropriate flag out. Now that's for a half point. And we'll talk about that in a minute, what the difference is. Now for a full point, an ippon, high straight up in the air, okay, whether it's red or the white side of the group. Okay, now, so I chirp the whistle, or the red person does the same thing. Now I'm responsible for the 2 lines of the ring that I'm on the corner of. So I don't really call that unless they're on my 2 sides of the ring. Okay, so you'll see that as you come into the ring. Now, the other calls that I need the whistle for would be a penalty or disqualification. So a penalty is a small circle over the head, okay, and it's a longer whistle, and then a disqualification would be a bigger circle. So I'll do each of those. Plug your ears. That would be a disqualification for a big circle, but most of the time you're going to end up with the penalty like that. Okay, so and the flag goes up to the side that did something wrong, right? So I always think of it like a siren. Siren's going off for this guy or for this person over here. Okay, now the other calls are more response calls. So you wouldn't blow the whistle for these, but you always want to show one of these calls if someone else blows the whistle. So now the most common one is you couldn't see. So I cross the flags and I show that there might have been something, but I just couldn't see it from where I'm sitting. So I always show that. Now, if I saw something, but it wasn't good enough to my judgment, then I wave it off. I cross the flags back and forth and I disagree with what was there. Okay, so really important to make that distinction. I couldn't see, it could have hit them, but I couldn't see the contact, or it was not good enough to me. They were off balance, they were falling over, they were moving backwards, whatever the judgment is. Okay, then the other one you'll use a little bit would be a clash call. So this would be, you want to try to make a judgment that they don't hit at the same time, but if they happen to hit at the same time, or it's just a very ugly, messy exchange, you just put the flags together like this, and that symbolizes the clash. Okay, so one more time, I couldn't see, no good, I disagree, and clash. But the whole goal is to call points, right? I really want to call the point because that keeps the tournament safe. when a competitor sees points being called for them or the other person, then they realize, oh, it's working, right? I'm doing good things. If they don't see those things being called, then they're going to get a little closer and they're going to spar a little harder and faster, and they're getting tired and they keep going. And then someone has a penalty out there because the judges weren't calling things appropriately, right? Or maybe it was a rough match, not much is there. So we have to find things. Okay, one of the teaching elements we talk about a lot is being a good finder. So on the lower levels, we have to judge a little more sparingly or openly if we don't see much good things out there, right? So think of, in the basic levels, maybe a 3 to 4 inch bubble, right? That they have to start breaking into that bubble and getting that close. If they're really young, maybe nothing's going on. Maybe that bubble gets a little bigger after a while, right? So use your judgment. We want to try to call something, whatever that best of that something is, right? Now, intermediate levels, we want to see that within a 1-2 inch bubble, right? It doesn't have to touch as long as it can touch and is in good form and good structure. Then more advanced black belt, brown belt levels, we want to see, that technique score with good accuracy and precision and good balancing and accordingly, right? So in a 1 inch bubble would be great. Now, as far as what we're looking for certain techniques out there, the most important thing is the student has to be grounded in a good, proper stance. So I can't be in the air scoring a technique. I want to be grounded, delivering either stationary rooted power or forward motion. I can't back up and throw the punch and score, right? So it's important that it's either in place or forward energy. And that is the same for kicks. I want to see the hip motion forward, whether it's front leg or back leg, but there's got to be forward movement. So I hope that helps in judgment. Fusion is great. Back fist is great. Reverse punch is great. Generally, jabs aren't going to score as much to the body, so use your judgment there. However, if there's nothing else going on, you got to make your calls, right? Kicking wise, you have front kick, roundhouse kick, hook kick, back kick. Those are all wonderful. Foot sweeping should be done. If you guys were foot sweeping me, you'd want to sweep from the outside of the leg this way, okay? Not to the inside where I would fall forward because we don't have protection for the face. So we want to keep it safe. The headgear is padded in the back. So if they fall anyway, they're going to fall backwards. At least their back of their head is padded. Okay. So that's what you're looking for on the sweeps. And let's talk about scoring areas. So the head is a very good scoring area. So sides of the head, front of the head, and the face, the rear of the head as well. We want to stay away from the neck area. So nothing to the neck. And then chest to belt line is what you're looking for. Shoulders really aren't a target. You want to kind of keep those away from the scoring the points, but think chest, front of the body, sides of the body, under the arm, down to the belt line, and then the rear of the body down, kind of below the shoulder, the back area. The only thing we can't score to is the spine down the center. Okay, and nothing below the belt other than the foot sweeps. And what we're looking for contact wise, it's either light to medium contact to the body. Okay, all divisions, nothing can contact the head. If it's a very light tap and they did nice skill, award that a good point, right? If it's a tap and the head moves, then that's where I start going with the penalty. If it's just the ever so grazing of the headgear, foam to foam, that's still very safe. Then I'm going to award that a point as much as I can because that was excellent control. If the head moves, then I go for the penalty. Black belt divisions, they can touch the headgear. Okay, so nothing can touch the face, but they should be able to touch the helmets safely and score points. Again, use your judgment. If the head, I always call it, is if the head moves or rocks or it's a violent jar of the head, then I call penalty. If it's a little bit of, just their response, you have to use your judgment in that situation. You want to call that a point. If it's more violent, then make that judgment to a penalty. Okay. I think that covers a majority of what you're looking for out there in the penalties and the points. And really the scorekeeping and the center judge will do all of the work as far as running the ring, so you won't have to worry about that. But the most important thing is call those points, call those, show the calls either way, okay? And you don't want to wait for the center to stop the match. If you see something, you want to blow the whistle fast and throw that flag out there right away, and then they'll stop the match. And it takes a majority of our judges to call something. So I can't give a point to the competitor unless I have 3 of the 5 flags, including the center, right? So corner judges, you keep the day moving. It's really important that you throw those flags out if you see something, right? It's better to throw something and then it doesn't get a point than not throw something and the competitors keep getting closer and stronger, and then it creates that tension in the ring, right? And someone gets hurt. So I hope that helps. Let's see, what did I miss? The flag sparring. So the little dragons or the younger ones will have flags in their belt. They'll have one on each side. And it's pretty simple to judge for that. They have to run in and grab the flag and get the points. And the rules there is they can't go on the ground. They can't put their hands on the floor. They have to stay on their feet. They can't hold their flags. The center judge will run this mostly. But corner judges, you can be great helpers of ushering the kids around, getting the flags ready, make sure their headgear's on, those type of things. And but call the flags for those kids too, right? So the red competitor will always have the red tag on the rear of their belt. So blow the whistles, be a good show out there for the little kids, especially. That's really fun. Their first tournament usually for them. And I'm going to take a little peek through my rule book here, make sure I didn't miss any major points. I didn't talk about the difference between the Wazari and the Ippon. So I'm glad I caught that. So a Wazari is a half point, which is what you're going to use most of the time. So a half point is going to be 95% of what you're calling. Again, that's the straight out call to the side. If someone does a beautiful roundhouse kick to the head or a hook kick to the head, and I'm the defender of that kick and I don't do anything, that kick just goes doop, and it taps me on the head and I don't even move. I don't even see it. I didn't even have time to block it. It was so perfectly executed. And that is the Ippon. That's the straight up in the air call. And that's what you're looking for the high level, so maybe your intermediate students, your brown belts, your black belts, maybe some, lower students might score one of those. Give them the Ippon. That's a full point. Okay. So that in the lower ranks, that would be a win automatically. Okay. So that's a picture perfect technique. Another example of an Ippon that is classic would be someone pulls off a beautiful foot sweep and they deliver that reverse punch, good balance and power, and the other person was just totally defenseless, then that would be a great example of another Ippon. Okay. So you'll see them, in the tournament, but it's going to be more rare, but you do want to call it when you see that, the Ippon. Okay. And straight up in the air, nice loud whistle, celebrate that Ippon. Okay. Really fun to watch the tournaments when those happen. Lower groups below black belt will be 2 Wazari, so 2 half points, which equals 1 full point. So again, if they score the Ippon, then they automatically win that match, move on. If the black belts have 4 half points, or 2 Ippon, or what we call Nihon Shobu, to confuse you even more, right? So 4 half points equals 2 full points. Now I'm confused. So I hope that helps there. One more thing I forgot to mention, if we're talking about out of the ring, okay, you can see the ring line there. So if my foot is on the line, that's okay. I'm still in the ring. Once the foot goes all the way over the line, that's when you call the out of the bounds. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Again, if I'm on the line, that's all right. Once it goes over the line, then you make that call quick and sharp and blow that whistle. When you're on the corner of the ring, making those flag calls, I know the match happens fast. So if you're a first timer, make those calls. And sometimes you'll put the wrong flag out because the competitor is turned around, right? So if you get the wrong flag out, just notice it fast, switch them really quick. There's nothing wrong with that. And even if you blow the whistle and you need to think for a second, okay, I want to give it to this person, right? That's okay. But you do want to throw it as soon as you're ready and your judgment has been made, okay? You don't want to be sitting there looking around at the other flags and then stick your flag out, right? You want to make your decision, put your decision out there and show that. So I hope that helps. And if you need whistles tomorrow, just come up to the head table. We'll have them up front if you need one. Please only grab one if you're about to judge, right? That way we don't go through all our whistles and the judges that need them can't get them. So I hope that helps. I'll open up for questions.
Sensei, just a quick question. 8:30 is start. What time would you like us to get there before?
Just a little bit earlier, that's up to you guys. So we're starting at 8:30. This judges meeting has already been done. So as long as you know your ring assignments and, get settled in for the day. One thing I forgot to mention, there are tickets available for you guys to go up to the concessions and get a free water. Okay, so grab a few tickets up at the head table or see your center judges. We'll probably pass those out to them and you guys can get water on the house for that. Okay, so appreciate your help as well. But I want to mention that as well. Don't
Senpai,
tell the ones that aren't on the meeting. Yes.
Senpai, for out of bounds, is it just a small penalty flagpole, or is there a different flag?
Yes, that's a small penalty.
Okay. thank
Okay,
you.
so let me touch on penalties. So things that would warrant a penalty would be excessive contact or contact to the legal areas, right? So maybe someone gets hit in the throat a little bit. That's a penalty, right? And then the center judge will look around and make that decision. They might even call the judges up to talk about it sometimes. Okay. Other penalties would be if they go out of the ring multiple times. Okay, and that's more for the center judge to handle. But if they keep going out of the ring, they can get a penalty for that. Another penalty would be contact to the head is too much, right? Like I said earlier, the head rocks or they get hit in the face, blood starts coming. That would be definite penalty, even potential grounds for disqualification. Okay, and then the disqualification would be this person lost their cool. They're just going, swinging for the fences, right? So that would be poor sportsmanship conduct, and we don't tolerate that, right? So definitely, if you see that, we want a strong competition, but we don't want anybody losing their control out there, right? So I hope that helps.
Senpai, if you're judging from 11:30, can we come there around 11, or should we come sooner than that?
So you're asking if you're judging at 11:30, should you come earlier?
Yeah, I mean, is there a meeting before that we have to be in? Or?
We won't have a meeting tomorrow. So this is the judges meeting. However, I did assign you to certain rings. It'd be great if you guys are there early too. You don't have to be, if you're judging 11:30 and on and closing the day and you want to be there earlier on, you're welcome to do that. And we will
Okay, Sensei.
definitely, I'm
Thank
sure, find use for you guys because, you know how the day goes. All these assignments probably willing and able, and you like to do extra, that's always welcome. And thank you for everybody doing that.
Okay, thank you, Senpai.
My pleasure. Did I miss anything? Anybody else out there?
Senpai? Did we already get ring?
Yes. Yes, Lewis. Let me show you. You were a little bit late, huh?
Yeah, I was a little late. I got caught up at work.
Lewis, I have you in ring. Those darn jobs. Ring number 4, Lewis. Okay, and I have you starting the day at 8:30 to 10:30, and then I think you're competing. It looks like, and then you can come back to judge once you're done competing. Okay, but 8:30 to 10:30, ring 4.
Thank you, Senpai.
You're welcome, Lewis. Nice picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Hi,
hi,
Senpai.
Senpai.
If you
Oh,
maybe
sorry.
joined in late and missed your judging assignment, anybody missed that as well?
Yes, Senpai, I did as well. I'm John Lebeski.
Let's see. John Lebeski. All right, thank you, John. That helped. Let me see, John. Saw your name earlier. There you are. All right, John. You're in ring number 2, and you can be there for the whole day, but we have you assigned into that ring to 11:30 to close of the day. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Andrea, I saw your hand.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to clarify something real quick because I've had this question before and just want to make sure I answer it correctly. During the sparring, when they have like so many warnings, is there like a point taken away or a disqualification for that match or for the entire thing? You know how they have maybe more
If
than
someone,
one match?
yes, yeah. If someone gets, let's say they go out of the ring and then they get a contact penalty against them, that's most of the time that would be they're disqualified from the match. Okay, if they have another round to spar, they can still spar in that division. However, if they get disqualified from, you know, it's called a Hansoko Chui. So if they get totally disqualified for a overly
One.
incorrect conduct, right? So I just foot sweep you and punch you in the face and stomp you and you know, bury you. Well, then that would be complete disqualification from the division. They can't spar at all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
And that's for the center judge to, you know, really point
Right.
that out there and make those calls. And that's generally a discussion with the judges. He'll call you up.
And that's who I usually send them
Okay.
to.
Great question. Exactly. Right.
Thank you.
That's how it's done. Anybody else? Welcome.
Hi, Senpai. This is John Lebeski again. Just wondering, my son Carter is helping with time or score calling. He wasn't able to attend the meeting. Do you happen to have his ring assignment?
See, I think I do. Carter, yep, he's in ring number 3. And yep, ring number 3. Okay, and then they'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate both of your help, Jim. Anybody else out there?
One more question, Senpai.
Yes.
So for the out of bounds calls, is it just an immediate warning call, or are we doing the physical low flag
Go ahead, Louis.
tapping from the out of bounds call?
I didn't hear you for some of that. Say again, Louis.
So for the out of bounds calls, is it an immediate small warning, or are we doing the low flag tapping call? Like tapping
can't
the So out of bounds calls, are we tapping the edge of the ring, or are we doing a small flag call or a small warning?
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll double show that one more time. So if someone goes out of the ring and I'm on the corner of the ring, okay, I would tap the floor, and that would chirp the whistle and tap the floor for that person. Okay, Louis?
I just wanted to clarify because I thought we were doing a small warning for the out of bounds.
No,
First,
no, that's up to the center judge to keep track of.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Last call and questions? Going once, going twice. Well, I appreciate all of you very much, as do all the sensei, for being part of tomorrow's event. Let's be professional out there. Let's enjoy the day. Let's have smiles on our faces, even if we're exhausted, tired, and hurting out there. That's part of the black belt duty is, work through that, but also let the center judge know if you have to leave and have to, move on to something else. If you have a son or a daughter competing and you should see that, I completely agree. Let your center judge know, and we can always alternate you in and out, but just, communicate those things, right? And then also think ahead. If you're competing tomorrow, you want to make sure that if you are judging, that you listen to the microphone. We had this happen last year, right? A couple students were in their rings judging, and sensei called on the microphone, "Hey, after this division, leave your ring. You're competing next." Pay attention for those things in the background, right? So that way, last year we got stuck where 3 rings had to stop completely to wait for some of the judges to be free so they could compete when they shouldn't have been judging, right? But if you're in the ring judging, you have to finish those divisions. And if you're stuck there, you're stuck there. So it's important that when those calls are made to get out of there, that we all work together to pay attention for that, right? And talk to each other. If you know someone else is competing and they need to be out of that ring, hey, I think Sensei was talking to you. Okay, and help everybody help each other with that. So if there's no last questions, I will dismiss you all, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And thank you once again. Have a good day.
You too, Senpai. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Senpai.
Bye-bye.